What confused you the most in middle/high school? Why some teachers had a power complex and others were super nice? As a teacher, I don't understand this either. I've always wondered if they brag about it. No, at least not in our teacher lounge. Thing is, what students perceive as a power teacher is usually the teacher scared of losing control, or just someone hating their job. That happens too. I totally didn't think about teaching being their backup job. Poster below mentioned it. Makes sense hating the job. I don't know where you are from, but around here most teachers start out enthusiastic. However, due to workload and lack of respect and support both from students and society as a whole, it can be very difficult to remain enthusiastic. Some teachers get disillusioned by it all. How everyone seemingly agreed that once we were in middle school, we just stood around and talked at lunch. I still wanted to run around outside, but I guess I didn't get a vote. The weirdest thing about going from primary school to intermediate was the lack of playgrounds. I can kinda understand high school world that have been cool though, but 11, 12-year-olds still wanna play. Being able to get fresh air would have been nice. That was the nice thing about where I went to high school. They had a courtyard off the cafeteria, so you could go out and get fresh air during lunch. I never wanted to do anything physical even in elementary school. I was the one that the teacher told to do stuff at recess. Same. Or anything creative. My teachers used to frisk me for books before letting me out for recess lunch. I just wanted to recharge my introvert battery to extrovert levels, but apparently that's too antisocial even for a compromise. How the moment we transitioned to high school suddenly like half of the rules changed and everyone knew about it. Like, in middle school, we would get yelled at and got a detention for not raising our hand or for saying a mean swear word to a friend or whatnot. Now, in high school, all of a sudden everyone blurts out whatever they want and can swear much more noticeably, and the most they get is a "hey, don't do that" from a teacher. It's not bad, of course, but it's just confusing. High schoolers are more likely to fight for their rights. Also, I have a theory. I think middle school teachers are so bad and power trippy because the school systems don't want to put those teachers in elementary school to keep young children interested in learning. They also don't want to put them in high school to keep students from dropping out. I don't think middle school teachers are inherently bad. I love teaching to the sun and back. But if you made me stand in a room with 11 to 13-year-olds all day for a week, you bet I'd become bitter and irritable. Lol. Kids that age are the worst. Good theory. I mean, middle school is the most useless out of the three. Why people would ask me questions or have a conversation with me, pretending to be my friend, and then they'd make fun of me afterwards. This was the reason why I stopped talking to people I didn't know at school, and then I was labeled as the rude one. Oh, I'm sorry Isabella, that all that time in year 7 where I would legitimately answer your questions and yeah just laugh at me really made me feel like shit, so you can't call me rude for being dismissive to you. In middle school, I misread niche with 2 G's. I got detention for it but nobody explained what I did wrong. When I finally learned why that word was wrong, I still didn't understand why I got detention considering I simply misread a similar word. One girl did that in geography. The teacher didn't hear, fortunately. She was nice. I think every geography class has at least one of those stories. Plus the kids who accidentally did it to be funny. That was a missed teaching opportunity for that teacher. Unless of course they were tired of kids saying it accidentally on purpose. But I also thought that was how niche was pronounced when I first saw it. I also didn't know what the N word was, so I didn't have any sort of connection to make. That would be my guess. Many of the teachers I had were the "do you really think I'm that dumb? I know better than to believe that you don't know better." Several things. Why some teachers became teachers. Why some trends were trends. Why people were so mean to nerds. Why girls wanted to date older guys. As a girl, I think we want to date older guys cause we think they might be more mature physical and mentally. For the nerd thing, I think people pick on nerds because they either think we're below them or because they're threatened by our intelligence and make them feel bad for being dumb. The funny thing is that the older guys who would date a middle high school kid are the least mature of all. Yay, they were also the weirdest. Yeah, but there's nothing more immature than a college-aged guy trying to date high school girls. Doesn't matter, adolescent guys get a raw deal because girls their own age are even remotely interested in them, not to mention the legal risk of getting sexually involved with a minor, even if you are also a minor. I just cut my losses and put off dating until I was 20. I was inexperienced, but at least I didn't have to put up with all the drama and hassle. Why the school would go all shockhead Pikachu.jpg when people violated the zero tolerance for violence policy. If you suspend both parties involved in a fight regardless of who started it or any context, you can't be surprised when victims decide that they have nothing to lose and shit whip their bullies with a loaded 3-ring binder. 700 plus 1000 plus upvotes and Reddit. Silver? Nice. Thanks everyone. Or when victims of violence hide it for fear of being punished. I had a teacher in HS tell us, if someone punches you then make sure you punch them back. You are going to get in trouble anyway, so get your money's worth. I also remember the time when there were all these kids gathered watching a fight. Teacher sees the kid, says that everyone better be gone when he comes back, and he kept walking. Think he said he was going be back in a minute or so, but let the kids break it up if they didn't want to get in trouble. So yeah, there were some teachers that weren't surprised by what would happen with that policy. Why everyone was so obsessed with dating and romance. Actually, I'm still confused by that lol. I'd say it fills a void. Humans are pack social animals, and we need connection on a physical level. Long story short, neurobiologically welcome touch makes us happy. If there's interest, I can point you to some studies I've read on NCBI when I'm more awake. Humans are not mules. Noted. I'm depressed because I'm alone, and I'm alone because I'm depressed. I'm dealing with that too, unless it was just a reference, and I'm trying to find ways to be alone but not lonely. When I'm lonely and depressed, I overeat, which I can't use when losing weight. I type this as I'm eating M&Ms. I know what kind of night this is. You might just be aromantic. Some people just aren't into it. In grade school, my best friend who went to a public school started going out with a boy. I cold and trapped my mind around that idea and would constantly ask where they go. She said sometimes they talked in the hallway between classes. I was so confused. Yup, I definitely had a few boyfriends in school that I never actually hung out with much outside of school. I had a girlfriend in high school. She just didn't know it. Why some people were so absurdly popular, even though they weren't anything special. As someone who was popular, I feel like you have a misconception. People don't really become popular because they are necessarily special. They become popular because they hang out with a popular group. Since this group is very large, they house the largest amount of special people. Makes more sense now. The thing is, everyone only cares about the popular bunch and sometimes forgets the other people exist. I have a slightly different theory. I was popular in middle school, but not part of the popular crowd. Those people who kids know as popular are just kids we all thought of as popular because they were jerks. We all thought, wow, they're able to be so mean, they must not be afraid of social repercussions. Whereas the actually popular kids are just nice people who are able to brush off bullies. Nobody knows them as the popular kids, but they objectively have more friends and are better liked. Money, games, toys, take your pick. It's rooted in greed. The immaturity levels of the people around me always dumbfounded me. Seriously, I was a teenager, and teenagers are the worst. It doesn't get better. Late 20s here. Everyone grows old, not everyone grows up. How kids could be so cruel to each other. I later realized why they were so cruel, and this confused me even more, and I remember asking my dad about it, and he said, welcome to adulthood. Alright then, keep your secrets. It was all those bologna sandwiches at lunch in high school. Well, don't just leave us hanging. So why was it, then? I'm old AF, and I still don't know. The short answer is that kids, depending on age and upbringing, don't yet realize that their actions have consequences. Combined with a lack of any concept of empathy, the longer answer requires a psych degree. You don't realize that your actions have consequences. You guys FRCKING ruined Sonic. How some kids got away with doing hard drugs. I always ask myself, where are their parents? After high school I realized the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Bisexuality in geometry. Did geometry turn you on? Something about geometry triggered something in them. How I passed with an A when I had like over 20 assignments not turned in. Quality, not quantity, makes the grade, I guess. I graduated high school with a 1.2 GPA. Figure that one out. How one day I hated my classmates and the other day I loved them. Why the number 69 was so funny. Do you know why 69 is funny now? Yes. I still have never done it though. Don't worry, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Ugh, when I was still an innocent kid I was like, yeah, 69 is cool because you can flip it and it stays the same. My friend had to explain why that was so funny to the guys I was talking to, super awkward. Gym teachers who preached about healthy well-being and making us run a mile on Wednesdays. Yet the coach was like 400 pounds and just sat there yelling. And still confuses me today. Math. 1 + 1 = 2. The rest is just extrapolating variations on that original permutation. Here is proof of that. This makes my brain hurt. Why people admit to having a crush on me, I don't know what it's like to date people, and I'm too afraid to try at this point. Fixed some small grammatical mistakes. For the same reason you didn't admit to having a crush on others. Rejection is scary.